Savage CBD strives to help people by offering top quality, lab-tested, natural CBD at affordable pricing. And it really is affordable. Whether you're new to CBD or have been using it for years, you can always count on all-natural, hemp-derived CBD with the purest ingredients. Savage CBD carefully tests each batch to ensure quality, consistency, taste, and authenticity. They pride themselves on their transparency and believe that you should know exactly what goes into your favorite CBD products. With Savage CBD, you can choose from a range of premium CBD lotions, creams, tinctures, gummies, and so much more. When you look at their website, there are thousands of happy customers who've reported incredible results after using CBD to supplement their daily routine. Overall, Savage CBD's goal is to create the products that empower you to maintain your balanced lifestyle. Whether you need some extra shut-eye at night or you need to find some more calm throughout your day, you can count on Savage CBD to help you reach that goal.
And guys, just for listening to this podcast, you can save 20% on your first purchase of CBD when you use our code BRAD20. So go ahead, my friends, start your CBD journey with Savage, and they'll be there to support you with every step of the way. Simply visit SavageCBD.com to redeem 20% off your first purchase of CBD by using code BRAD20 and see why thousands of people are using CBD. Now, Kelly, I've been a CBD user for a little while. I use it when I'm out on the disc golf course. It helps me relax. It's great with muscle aches and pains, and it's really kind of replaced ibuprofen for me. So anybody that's listening to this, guys, check out Savage CBD. We thank them for being a supporter of the Knoll Family Foundation, the Bradley's House podcast, and we hope you'll support them as well.
Hey, this is Kevin Lyman, founder of the band's Warped Tour, and you're listening to Bradley's House podcast.
Hello, guys. Welcome back. Come on in. Make yourself at home, as you should when you're a guest in Bradley's house. I am your co-host, Jarett Orr. If we are soldiers fighting in this war, Kelly is our general and the executive director of the Knoll Family Foundation, our fearless leader and host, Ms. Kelly Knoll. Kelly, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Jarett. How are you doing?
I'm like I say all the time, Kelly. If I was any better, I'd be jealous of myself. I am living the dream here.
That's fabulous, including breaking up fights with your kids, huh?
Yeah, I think that's part of the territory. It's a 12-year-old, it's an 8-year-old. The 8-year-old's got like the most middle child syndrome in the history of middle child syndrome. So like he still wants to be cuter than the baby, but like he also wants to beat his older brother in every game and in everything possible. So I spend a lot of time playing in between them. Now, I don't know about normal parents, but like people say like, oh, you know, like you don't have favorites, right? Like, oh, you can't have favorites. But like, I'm telling you right now, 99% of the time I go into breaking up an argument already knowing whose side I'm taking, and I haven't heard the story yet. Okay, it's just, I have like this, I just have like this wheel in my head, and I'm just like, man, it's been Nicholas the last 2 times. Alex is getting it this time, boy. And it's like, that's just kind of the way that it goes. And so they think that they're telling me the story, but little do they know I've already made the judgment in my head.
Yeah.
You know,
well, fortunately, most of the time, we're a lot smarter than our kids think we are. I think that helps.
Yeah, it's definitely big. My kid thinks that I'm the biggest idiot walking the face of the earth. So, well, yeah, I know.
That happens for a while.
Right.
And eventually he'll think you're super smart, and then he'll go back to thinking you're an idiot again, and then he'll think you're brilliant. And
well, you know,
kind of how it goes.
Mark Twain said when I left home at 18, my old man was the dumbest man I ever met. And I returned home at 21, and I couldn't believe how much the old man learned.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So you have that to look forward to.
Right. Yeah. I hope I make it till they're 21, but at this point it's, they're wearing me down quick. So, Kelly, we have another fun show lined up again today. I always get so excited, about getting on here and chatting with all of the different people that we have coming on. I know I say that every single week, but I genuinely mean it. We always have fun conversations. You always line up incredible house guests for us. Kelly, who's our house guest in Bradley's house today?
Today we have a musician that I'm super looking forward to talking with. He's known for being super positive and upbeat and has just a real unique sound that blends reggae, folk, and hip hop. Today we have Aaron Wolf with us. Aaron, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kelly. What's up, Jarett?
What's going on? I'm sorry about that. I'm here and I'm complaining about my kids, and then Kelly's like, we get this super positive and upbeat, and I start the show out, and I'm like, my kids are ruining my life. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Kelly gave you the right introduction. I apologize that I kind of rain on the parade in the beginning there. You're gonna bring that positivity to us now, though.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, well, it's like there's already, obviously being a parent has its own challenges that I've definitely not experienced myself. But had you not told me that you had just gotten done handling business with the kids, I wouldn't have known, because you had some positive energy yourself. So thanks for having me. It's so exciting to talk with you guys.
Well, I'm going to start out with a question that I actually got. I talked with a friend of yours today, and I said, I'm really stoked. I'm talking to Aaron tonight for the podcast. Is there anything you think I should ask him? And here's what he said, what he wanted me to ask you. He said, you're always encouraging and positive to others. How do you balance that with self-care? How do you recharge your batteries and stay so positive all the damn time? I thought that was funny. He threw in damn time at the end there. But so tell us, what's your secret, Aaron?
Well, the secret is that I'm not always positive, obviously.
He's an honest man too, apparently.
It's like, it's basically, there's like two different types of people that I've noticed, and I try to be as much as a lifter as I can instead of someone who's leaning on other people. And I just feel like it's really easy whenever things are going good in our life. It's a lot easier to help other people up if they're having a shitty day, or
sure,
I don't know, if they don't have a means to earn money, or whatever the case may be. Even like with your kids, if they don't have the knowledge to know certain things, it's good to be able to help other people and to basically not put our burdens on other people as much as we can. And not only that, but to place more attention on the things that are going right.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we're, more focus is on that.
Right. That's a big key.
So yeah, that's it. It's definitely not, there's no real secret to being positive all the time, other than that I don't really know anybody who is. But I do try to, I try to lift people up with the things that I create, because there's already a lot of heaviness, that we all experience. And
do you ever feel like you're giving out so much that some days you just don't have it to give?
Yeah, definitely. I tend to be pretty extreme with certain things. So like if I'm making music, then I'm making music, or if I'm just relaxing, then I really don't want to do anything. So generally speaking, if I find that I'm putting time into like maybe the wrong type of relationships and friendships or situations, and it's not reciprocated, then it becomes draining. But as time goes on, I think that at least I've learned to like try to get rid of those things if it doesn't feed me back, to move on to a different thing that does feed me. And whenever we're spending time on the wrong things, I think that we're not, it kind of takes up the space for the right things to come into our life. So not to get too deep right away, but
let's get deep. I'm all for it. I know. I figured we'll just shake things up and start with the good ones. And so what do you do to recharge when you're feeling empty and you just don't have it to give, but you've got a show coming up or you're going to be talking with people? What do you do to make sure that you have something to give?
When I'm like on my game and I'm doing what I know I should, it's usually like running or just any type of physical activity, anything to change my chemistry of how I feel.
Nice.
It's like a whole process though, as just with like anything with addiction or anything that we have like adversity in our life with, it's like you're not always good at it. You're not always going to wake up on time. You're not always, But I really believe that it's like the pain of falling off is what kind of, at least for me, has pushed me back on track and back in the right direction, So
absolutely.
In terms of getting tired, yes, it's definitely tiring, but it starts to come back,
Yeah.
So
Self-care.
you run on purpose?
Not, I mean, like I said, when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that's the problem. So like you have like a brand and like people know you for being positive, and then you're like driving, you're like having a shitty day and you like scream at something. So
Yeah.
I guess once I get bigger, I'll have to probably stop being an asshole in secret.
Well,
But
I was just saying,
I'm just fucking with you guys.
Some advice for you, Aaron, Kelly, Anna, and all of our listeners. If we're ever someplace and you see me running, follow me. Something bad is happening. And that is the only reason I am running. So if you ever see me running, just drop what you're doing and fucking follow me, because trust me, I know what's going on.
So you're not out there getting that runner's high, Jarett?
No, if you see me running, it's like, I know some shit's going down. Just follow me.
Right.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone. And I've never really been a big runner, but I just think that in general, like the more I do things that, and I think it could apply to anybody, the more I do things that I like, like if I could think of a good version of what I would like Aaron to do, like if you're, I don't know, if you're in a business and your business partner did something nice for you, you go and surprise them with something, like whatever it is, our conception of like our best way of being, the more that we do things, then I guess that kind of recharges me. That whenever I do things that are in line with that. So if I'm like supposed to wake up early, then I do it, then it builds momentum for myself. But if I don't, then it like almost has the opposite effect, you know?
Yeah, that's true. The more you do what you know you're supposed to be doing, the better you feel about yourself, and then the easier
it kind of becomes painful to not do it. And that's the whole shit that I never really got, you know? It's like, that's why people exercise or lift weights and I'm not like super into the gym all the time either, Jarett. So I'm not trying to give you like, hey man, you got it. But I'm just saying like,
so that's not where I know you from. Cause I saw your picture and I was like, man, I know this guy from somewhere. Apparently we didn't
maybe it's the gym.
We didn't share the treadmills together. No, but I will say that I think there is something to be said, about positive thinking and, just to hear the way that you talk about it. I know that throughout my life in sales, I would like give myself pep talks in the morning as I was getting ready for work. And like my kids would look at me like I was crazy, but I truly believe that, if you speak that positivity into yourself, you're able to then project it on to others. And positivity it's truly contagious. Like, I don't care how shitty of a mood you're in, when there's somebody that just has that right positivity coming off of them, it can change your day in a second.
I didn't know that you had done sales. That's awesome. I did door to door for like 10 years. And when I did that, I read this book and it had given this old example of this like old, I can't remember. I hate to disrespect whatever culture it was from by not remembering, but it's a story about the sun, and the sun went to the darkest part of the woods where nobody said that there was any, like all the creatures of the whole forest were like, yo, there's no light over here. You can't see anything. It's dark. Don't go there. And the sun went there and he didn't know what they were talking about. Right. And so there's always been people in my life that I've like seen that way. And whenever, like you were saying, they come into the room and their aura and their energy kind of lights you up. And so I've been lucky because I feel like just seeing the people that I've met through music and within this community that I've recently kind of like been introduced to, just seeing them and, just a result of all the different things all the times we spent together and stuff like that, that kind of like lights me up, So again, going back to like things that feed us back whenever we put energy into them, that's like a really big thing for me.
That's cool. Did you grow up in a real positive environment? Where did you learn all this?
Knocking door to door. Yeah. Door to door sales for like 10 years. So I grew up in Salt Lake City and I had a band until I was like maybe 19. And I like, we wanted to be like, everyone's like, who's your music like? We're like Sublime, Slightly Stupid. So like, I'm sure every single artist that comes on the show tells you they're inspired with that. But so I did
heard of them.
Yeah, who's that?
I never get tired of hearing it though, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even like every time you sing that song at a show, like it's like the best song for the response from the crowd. I'm like, damn, man, it's not even my song. But obviously that's why, you know, because he great songs. Anyways, did that for a long time. And then when that kind of like came to a standstill, I had some things that I was dealing with like addiction. And that's when I went out and did door-to-door sales, because I know I had to like get out of my environment. I was like maybe 19 or 20 years old. And then I did door-to-door, and that was like my way of raising money so that I could go and produce music and create songs and all that. But I just found that I could never quite, it's like the carrot, you know, it's like I could never quite get enough money to what I thought I needed to be able to put out music.
What were you selling?
I did alarm systems, and then I did satellite TV.
Yes.
And then I finally moved out to California to do solar, because I was like, man, I can't go for a summer at a time and then come back, and a summer at a time come back and never really get momentum. And for some crazy reason, I ended up in San Diego, not Rancho Cucamonga, like at random. And then that's where I like ended up meeting everybody from this whole scene, you know? So it's like from door-to-door sales, experiencing just like the human interaction of people in, you know, over 10 years, we knocked like everywhere, like West Texas and Iowa and all these towns. And like, there's a different side of people that you get to know when you like knock on their door and get in their house when they're not expecting it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Give us there had to have been a crazy story. There had to have been, in 10 years of going up to people's front doors, something crazy happened at least once.
Oh man, you know it. It's like,
yes.
like I met the dudes that his dad was like so it was the father of the violin player for Dave Matthews I met one time. And the whole time, like, I'm out there like doing this, and in my mind, I'm like doing it to earn money so I could go and, you know, create music. And I ended up finding out that like I moved out to California, and then the solar company went under, and then I didn't have any money, you know what I'm saying, to show for like that whole downline I built and everything. But anyway, that's what put me in San Diego. And in terms of just like crazy stories for door to door, like every day, I mean, but that's what's cool, is you really see all aspects of people. Like, sure, you're going to have a bunch of people who are dicks to you, but then you come across the sweet lady who for no reason to trust you. And like, she's like, come on in. You're like, are you sure? Like, man, for real? So anyway, yeah, like I traveled a whole bunch, and it ended up kind of putting me here in Southern California. And that's where I just played a whole bunch of bars. I just went straight from doing like the sales stuff when the solar company that I was with went out of business. I just, you know, if I was going to start over, I was just going to try and do it myself. And so I did that for like 2 or 3 years. And then when the pandemic hit, that's kind of like when everything all changed, you know?
Well, you're still selling as a musician. Everything is sales. People get a lot of things confused, but everything is sales. I mean, you're selling yourself right now to venues and to fans, and you know, you're not knocking on doors, so to speak, but you're still out there working social media and everything you can to sell yourself. Everything is sales. So you got a good background to get yourself going for your music, for sure.
Man, well, I love people. And that's one thing I learned, is that people are so resilient.
What?
And you can make it through everything. Like people are so insanely resilient, you know, like it's just unbelievable. And then their pain can be like transformed into like literally like for the specific, it seems like, I know it's maybe not the reason, but for the specific reason to help someone else later on, you know? I mean, I think it's beautiful what you guys are doing. And that's why I was stoked beyond this, because it's not, I mean, you talk about like epidemic, like things that affect a lot of people, and addiction is definitely, I mean, you don't know anybody who doesn't know somebody, you know?
Yeah, we've all been touched by it in some way or another, either personally or a loved one, or I mean, it's just, you know, it's impossible to escape. But I think that that's one of the beautiful things, and one of the things that I really hope we can help people to understand, is that it is just part of the human condition. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed of if you're struggling with it. It's nothing to look down on somebody for if someone you know is struggling with it. These are all just parts of the human condition that we all go through in some degree or another. And, you know, for people who are struggling with it in the moment, the biggest thing I think they need is our love and support. and not to be looked down on, or to be made to feel like they're shit because of what they're doing, because really it's just part of being human. And I really do believe that. So tell me what it was like growing up
Yes.
in Salt Lake City. I'm guessing it wasn't exactly how it was in SLC Punk, which was a fabulous
No,
movie.
it is a good movie. Yeah.
Do
No, it wasn't
love
like,
that movie, but
yeah, it's a good movie for sure. It definitely wasn't like that. But we, man, I guess like we first got like a hip hop music station and like 2000, man, it was like way behind, it was like years behind. So it was really quiet and stuff as high school came around, and like the internet and stuff started popping off. I graduated high school in 2007. It started getting a little bit cooler, but yeah, it was really just like I had my band, and we had some good momentum for a while there locally, but I didn't realize how big everything was,
mm-hmm.
So I kind of had already gone through everything I'm doing now just back home, but it was cool. Got 2 older brothers. I played sports, and
What sports did you play?
I played like all sports. I loved like pretty much any sports, that like football, basketball, baseball. And then I ended up getting in my band when I was like 12 years old. So I kind of had like split groups of friends,
Yeah. Different worlds.
Yeah, but it was cool because I could kind of bring them together.
Nice.
So it was pretty fun. But yeah,
so
Utah's
12
cool.
12 was young to be starting a band.
Yeah, kind of yeah, really, now that I look back on it, it's kind of a crazy story. So one of my family members, a sibling of mine, had a little experimentation over a weekend
Mm-hmm.
with some substances, and it had made him pretty much have to go and get checked into like a hospital for a few days.
Oh,
and
wow.
and I was pretty young, like we didn't really have like addiction in our house per se or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
My parents didn't really drink because they knew my brothers would like steal their shit,
Yeah.
And so like they were pretty good about that. But anyway, one of my brothers kind of freaked out, and he's good now.
Good.
But he was like, it was a really stressful time, and I was like maybe 10 or 11, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember I found my mom's old guitar like underneath her bed,
Mm.
and I was like, hey, play me or show me how to play a song. So she showed me like 2 chords. And then I went off to the room, and I just remember like once I very first like strummed a chord, and like everything just like boom, like the Matrix, like everything went away, completely just like vanished,
Wow.
And then from there I was just like addicted and hooked on the guitar. And I had only listened because I'd only really listened to like Tupac and West Side Connection, and I was like little, like I was probably under 10 when I started listening to that music. And so it wasn't until I started hearing like the Blink-182 songs and stuff come off my guitar, I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I like this guitar stuff. And then I started hearing Sublime, and I was like, oh, this is like the rap music I've been listening to,
Kind of
So
brought it
from
all
there,
together, huh?
yeah. And then I met this local kid that was in my school, and we started kind of going. So it's really been it's been only 3 years since I put out music, like officially,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really just been this long, like winding road where it's pretty crazy that I'm talking to you right now, honestly.
That's rad. I love it. That sounds like a great journey.
Yeah.
What'd you guys call yourself? What was your band when you were 12 years old called?
The Jarett Orrs and the Hit in the Gyms.
Dude, you were probably crushing it.
Dog, I'm telling you, check out our old remixes, bro.
Yes.
I'm telling you. But yeah, man, it's definitely like it's an ongoing process, and it's really just pretty special that music is able to affect so many people. It's like something that's created in a moment can go on for so long. So I feel lucky to be involved with that, and that it can be used, for good things like what you guys are doing. Really, really dope.
Trying, yeah, absolutely. And I think people underestimate the power of music a lot of times. And that was one thing we realized when we first decided to start the foundation and, build Bradley's House, was that this is a powerful tool in not just in life, but especially in recovery. So to be able to incorporate that into the entire program, I think will be really awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think
what
that,
kind of music? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say this, like, a big reason that I was using it was because I felt like bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't feel good. So I would want to do stuff that would make me feel good, like basically black and white. Yeah. And that's what I've noticed with just this community. And I think anytime you get a group of people who rally around something, it really gives meaning to their lives, and it gives them like, then there's also like pleasure associated with not doing the wrong things.
Right. Yeah. I think the pandemic has showed people too a lot about how important music is to them, because so many people, that's been a lifeline for them, the live streams and, all that kind of stuff that they've been able to tie into when they couldn't all of a sudden go to live shows anymore. When it's just there, you take it for granted, but when all of a sudden it's gone, you realize how much it adds to your life and how much you need it,
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So what kind of music were you guys playing when you first started your band when you were 12?
I would say it's like the same. It's just kind of like similar to how my music is now. It's like hip hop and reggae influence and funk influence.
So you
it just
right
was.
Away.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of like it's been hard to ever like really choose a genre and define it. But it's just always kind of been me, Like I'll write the songs and then I'll have people that help make it better because they can add their own unique stuff. Just that I play with, whether it's producers or people in my group. It's that was like so long ago that it's almost like it didn't even take place. But it's been cool just to kind of like re-tap back into that as I've started really playing shows and stuff this last year. The last, like, I'd say 11 months. Well, yeah, about the last year has been like just nonstop, like shows every weekend almost. And
even during the shutdown, were you able to find places to play?
It kind of is crazy, like how it all worked out. So just, I was doing these things where I was driving around and telling people like, God bless you and have a good day and shit. And then I was catching their responses, and like a couple of them went viral on TikTok.
Oh wow.
And so it basically gave me this idea to do a podcast where it's kind of like the whole coffee with comedians and cars thing. But it's drives and good vibes. And I drive around and interview different artists about stuff that people wouldn't know about them, and just do nice things, right? Because if people see good examples that, sometimes, at least we hope, they'll follow it.
Right.
So this dude saw me doing that video and then asked me to come and start opening, or I opened for a show and Slightly Stupid was on it. And then it asked me to come back, and another one with like K-Bong. And so basically, like, because of everything that kind of happened, I was invited within the circle of people I wouldn't have normally been in the room with, as soon, I guess, eventually. But yeah, so it really it offered an opportunity to kind of connect on a more like a smaller scale, I think, with people.
Right.
Whenever there were gatherings, and I think that people did kind of whatever they needed to like keep the music going. Yeah,
definitely. So do you still do the Drives and Good Vibes podcast?
Yes. Yeah. I released those like in 3 episodes at a time. It was just something that I started as like everything was kind of getting a little weird and there was a lot of negative stuff going on. So I just wanted to kind of do it as a way to bring more uplifting stuff to people online.
That's awesome. Where can people check that out?
On my YouTube. Yeah, it's youtube.com/Aaron Wolf Music.
Okay, Aaron Wolf Music. Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah. So
that sounds fun. So what else did you do during the pandemic to maintain your sanity?
Man, it was just really just shows like every week, and I'm just barely getting going with like the full band. So it seems like each opportunity is just like a little bit bigger, and so I'm just like really trying to catch up. I've been rehearsing like a couple times a week, and just really planning this next year. It's been nice to get out of state on some shows and stuff. I have a couple out of state runs here coming up, but yeah, just really did during the pandemic was doing those interviews and working on new songs, and then just playing it's usually like weekend runs for the private events, you know?
Yeah. What are some of the challenges that you found of being in the music industry?
Well, initially it's like, you know, you kind of have to like, I don't want to say like force your way in, but you kind of have to like just keep showing up.
Right.
And I think some of the challenges are just basically people not being able to handle like rejection, I think.
Yeah. That's
And
tough.
initially like with a tribe, like, you know, because the music scene is essentially like just like a tribe, and we all like want to be accepted, you know. And at first when you're like on the outside relationally, you know, like you're on the outside of like the circle of whatever group of people it is, I think that we like try to be involved with. It's just, you know, it's like earning that credibility within the tribe of like, this person is here for, you know, to uplift everyone and stuff.
Right. To give and not just take.
Yeah, on some level, it is that. And I just think that in general, like the lack of clarity with how the business works, and you know, it's like to get, if you seek investment, you have to kind of know like a plan on how they can recoup money.
So,
and so
tell
it's
us
like
about Musician Mastery Summit.
Yeah, so that was actually started because of kind of what I was just talking about, where there's just like kind of a lack of transparency. And so I wanted to start out by giving to people who maybe were more established. And so we just put on like an online music conference, basically, where I just interviewed people who had already kind of gotten to where a lot of up and coming artists are striving to go. Because not a lot of time we get that vantage point, you know?
Right.
And I know a little bit about like marketing, digital marketing and stuff. And so what we were able to do is just basically promote the talks of different experts talking about what they're really good at, you know? And then we were able to offer that as a resource to not only other artists, but also myself. So I kind of like created the little training program for myself to kind of go through and learn. And thankfully, you know, many people who are successful enjoy giving back.
Right. That's very true.
So yeah, it was
When
just
did
kind
you
of
start that?
So that was 2018 or 2017. It was just before I released my first EP.
Okay.
So that was 2018 that I did that. So it was, I mean, we've done it like 3 years now.
And it's an
Maybe
all
5.
online event, right?
Yeah. And it's just like, we just bust out like 30 something interviews in a couple of weeks. I just do a bunch of interviews at a time, and it's all just kind of pre-recorded. And then we launch it throughout like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. I was just looking over all the speakers that you had for this last one, and some of the names people actually I recognized, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool that you've got so many people from so many different walks of life that have this expertise to share. It seems like a really valuable resource for not just artists in the business, but really anybody involved in the music industry.
Yeah, because that's really the challenge, is that it's not really, I mean, any artist that we see that's like on some sort of trajectory, it's definitely not just them, you know? It's like, I'm lucky because I've been able to find people who are part of my team, but we're still not like a label where you have, you know, the different people doing this, all of the work at the same thing at one time.
Right.
But the cool part is that one thing I learned within the summit is that if you are smaller and you aren't part of a bigger organization, if you need to adapt, if you need to make changes, like when the summit did, or when everything did shut down, we were able to within like 3 days say, okay, let's do the summit again, you know? And then we started doing the interviews again. And so it's like if you have a big cruise ship and you have to turn, oh shit, going the wrong way, versus
tough.
if you're just like a real speedboat.
Right.
So there's benefits and drawbacks, but the coolest part is just like seeing what's possible through all the new friends I've made, all these different artists like Vanna. It's really, really inspiring stuff to be around all these cool musicians.
So for someone who would be interested in the Musician Mastery Summit, where do they get more information?
It's just musicianmasterysummit.com. You can go there. They're all just recordings on there. It's like a digital product now. And we'll probably do more of those. This next year is really going to just be focused on releasing music and getting out to tour and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Getting back to normal life.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Like it's just kind of one of those things where, like I said, I kept going regardless and just kind of did it on a smaller scale. So I guess that's one benefit of not having played like big stadiums and stuff yet, right?
Right.
I was just like, hey, here we go, keep moving forward. And I also think a lot of that comes from the sales stuff. Jarett, what did you sell, man?
You name it. The majority of my sales was in the automobile business, though. I started that when I was 17, and it drained me. So I started an advertising business in Portland, Oregon, and that's actually how I got into podcasts, because I wanted to sell advertising for podcasts, and it turns out that everybody already has somebody that does that. So I was like, well, then I'll start my own fucking podcast then. How about that? And it's funny because you're talking about this music mastery class and how you, like, you know, people that don't know and they need to get the insight. I wish when I started my first podcast, because I was like, yeah, man, all these people have these podcasts. They're not that good. I could do better. So I'll just talk somebody into doing a podcast with me. And I got together with this professional wrestler that I watched as a kid, and I pitched my whole business plan, because I thought of everything. I mean, I came up with everything. I put a lot of time into it. I pitched the entire business plan, and he was like, yeah, man, let's do it. And when I got off the phone, I was like, how the fuck do you make a podcast? I don't know. Like, I could barely get my computer to turn on. Like, and now he's in Kentucky and I'm in Oregon, and I've got to figure this out. And luckily somebody that worked for the advertising company actually had a computer background, and he was kind of able to help. And that's how I got started until I met Anna, and obviously the rest is, but so I sold everything, but advertising and cars mostly. But at one point when I was 17, I did get a job at this place on Niagara Falls Boulevard right outside of Buffalo, New York. And we sold the most likely winning lottery combinations.
Hell yeah, but that was
and so I go to this place, and I'm all right. So yeah, this is a true story. So like, I'm out of high school. My dad's like, you need to work full time, and this was during one of my hiatuses from Famous Footwear, one of many, which is where my dad was an executive, and he would constantly fire me and rehire me. So the one time I went and found this job at this telemarketing place, and I go there, and it's this like seedy little old storefront that they've got some desks and phones set up, and it's literally, you call these people, they give you the numbers, and you give them a pitch that through mathematical and scientific equations, our team has figured out what the most likely winning lottery combinations are in their area. And I knew it was like a little off, but I was also 17, and I'm like, obviously these guys know what they're doing. Like, they, you know, this is a company. My paycheck says LLC on the end of it. It's got to be legit.
Oh no.
So I'm doing it, and I start kicking ass. And for 3 weeks in a row, I made $1,600 a week.
What?
Because I hit the very top level of sales. So I am literally the king of the world. At 17 years old, are you kidding me? My friends were just like, what are we doing tonight? And I'm like, whatever we feel like we're doing. What do you mean? We're the kings of the world. $7 in gas basically filled my tank. And you know, like, so I sold this one woman a pretty large package, and I get to work Monday morning, the beginning of my 4th week, and I've got a letter from that woman. And in the letter, she talks about how she's on an incredibly fixed income, and her money's very limited, and she's going to go without some of her extras this month because she felt so strong about, you know. And I folded up the letter. I stuck it in the envelope. I put the envelope in my pocket. I walked up to the front, and I said, yeah, so I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
The guy was like, well, what do you mean? You're our top salesman. And I'm like, dude, we're stealing from people. And he was like, everything we're doing, our script is within I'm like, Troy is in the back. I smoked a joint with him at lunch. He's the guy that when you get a sale, he picks a piece of paper, sticks it in an envelope, and mails it to somebody. He's not doing math back there. So I quit. I left. My fat daddy paycheck was gone, and like a year and a half later, the place got raided, and the owners went to jail, and. It was like a whole big thing. But it ended up, they got busted and went to jail in St. Louis. They had moved out of this office and moved on to the next place and probably started a new LLC. But yeah, so I sold the most likely winning lottery combinations. What a genius move too, because they would buy their lists. Remember back in the day before the internet, you used to call a 900 number. It would cost you like 75 cents and you would check the lottery numbers, right? Oh my God. So they would buy the list from the people that called the 900 number for the lottery. And they would also buy lists from the psychic networks. So you're calling people that are already thinking that something crazy is going to drop into their lap or that are playing the lottery all the time. But yeah, so I sold some crazy shit, but the most likely winning lottery combinations was probably that was my craziest one.
That was pretty crazy.
Did you have in the back, sorry, this was from the last little segment of that. Did you have in mind that one dude who helped you with the podcast whenever you said yes to that, or did you just say yes to doing the podcast?
I just said yes to doing. I honestly, him, right? I honestly did not get that far. I don't know how that part of the plan just like, I just figured it was easy, you know, like everybody was doing it. How could it be that difficult? So like, I'm sure but I don't have a podcast yet. So why would I have to learn how to do one until I have one? And how am I going to get one? And the only way to get one, if you're going to get a celebrity to do it, is you have to be able to map out how they're going to make money and how little work they have to do. And so I had everything all set. I answered every single question. He was like, yeah, man, let's do it. All right, boom, let's do it. And I literally hung up the phone and I was like, what the fuck? Now what? Like, how do you log into YouTube so you can get on there live? Like, how does this work? And so I asked a few of my buddies at the business that I had a call center. And I had a computer guy at the call center, so I figured at the very least he could set me in the right direction. And he was like, "Oh yeah, man, I could do it, no problem." And he did do it. It wasn't great, but he did it. And honestly, him sucking at doing it is why I'm in the position that I'm in now, because he wasn't that good. And I got an email from a fan who was like, "Hey, I like the podcast and I noticed that your producer hasn't been able to get a show out. If you need any help, let me know. I would love to help out." And now I'm engaged to her, and she produces both of my shows that I do right now. So
that was a good email, then, dude.
Yeah. So it worked. And, you know, when I first got the email, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Don't be throwing shade at me like, hey, you can't get your show help. Like, oh, fucking come at me like that. And now here we are, and I have two wonderful podcasts, and that's how it goes. But yeah, I literally sold the whole idea with no idea on how to do a podcast.
Yeah, because you took a leap.
Well, I just knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted the podcast, and it was very similar to, then I did another show with former Major League Baseball player Jose Canseco. And so we did a show for a little bit, and I stopped doing that, and I just took a break, and I was like, I really enjoy doing these shows, and there is a reason to do it. I just got to find something that really matters to me. And I had a few things pop up from other athletes that I had reached out to in the past or that I was friendly with. And it all just kind of seemed like, And that's how I came up with the idea for the Bradley's House podcast. And I was like, this is, going to be something that's really going to be awesome. And I pitched it to Kelly, and she was like, yeah, no. And
actually, first I was no, and then I was yes. So it was mostly no for a while. That's how I knew he was a good salesman. The one phone call he actually had after I got off the phone, I was like, crap, I'm going to do it. I didn't tell him I was going to, but I knew after that one call.
That's awesome.
Very persuasive.
Yeah, well, you gotta be. You gotta be, man. And that's the same thing for you, Aaron, you know, like everything is sales and where you're at right now and making money, with music and selling your music and selling yourself and doing podcasts and constantly posting stuff and that's just selling, man. So you've already done that. You made a living doing that door to door. It wasn't what you wanted to do. You just kind of transitioned to it. And now you get to do something that you're passionate about. And, you know, with your positive thinking and the way that you approach things and the scene that we have here and what you've already been able to accomplish, I have no doubt that the sky's the limit for you.
Man, thank you. Yeah, it's been really, it took a long time to happen really quick, you know, like the last little bit. It's a matter of just for me now, really, really just like doubling down on the things that are getting results and just continuing to grow as like an artist, you know?
Yeah.
It's just an ongoing thing.
You've got a great fan base. I'm a part of the Facebook group, the Wolf Pack. And it's so cool to see how, you know, how excited people get, how into the music they are. What do you attribute that to? How did you get all that going?
It's really it's kind of just one of those things that just started organically. It's been, obviously, you know how important like all the groups are, the Facebook groups, for really just to this scene and everyone staying connected, which I literally didn't even use it like Facebook at all. And then as I started getting involved with more of the scene and stuff, I was like, oh shit, this is like where everyone communicates everything for all of the events and stuff, you know?
Right.
So it's been kind of one of those things where everyone's just like interwoven in all the other different groups. But it's been really cool just because I didn't expect how many friends, like real life friends, that music could like bring to me almost. It's like you create a sound and then you put the sound out and then it like starts attracting the right people to you. So yeah, it's really just a combination of like that and then just that's where everyone hangs out online, you know, around my music.
Very cool. So I want to ask you, and I should have asked you beforehand if you were comfortable talking about this, and if you're not, we can totally just cut this whole part out and no one will ever even know existed. But have you struggled yourself with addiction?
Do you mean, do I say that I'm like an addict?
Not even that, just
what
is
did
it
you say?
something that you felt
I haven't heard that term.
Struggling with addiction?
Oh, struggle. I thought you said circle myself with addiction. I was like, circle myself. I was like, oh my God, that sounds like kind of
sounds really scary. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like I was saying, it's I don't know. I'm not necessarily like 100% sure that I had like ever really dealt with it head on, with the exception of getting to the point where I wasn't like taking, let's say, like opiates, you know what I mean? So there's been times where I've been physically dependent on that. And so, yeah, but it just depends on like whose definition. I don't really see myself like that anymore but I definitely am addicted to like the things I'm addicted to, you know, like I'm addicted to waking up and like coffee, or like I use nicotine every so often, or even work habits, or so I think that I'm like very much extreme and I can get into certain things. But yeah, I definitely have had moments in life where now that I look back on it, I feel like it was more, there was underlying issues and the addiction was more of like a side effect or like something that I was using to cope with, you know?
Sure.
But yeah, there's definitely been times in life where, you know, that's been an issue. And thankfully, I don't know how, I didn't go down the same road that a lot of like my very best friends did, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
And it's not something I really, really talked about much, just because, like I said, it's been such a long time and I don't really struggle with it right now, you know?
Yeah.
But I have so much, it's like a cup, you know, it's like an empty cup. If you try to pour like water into it, like there's no room. So I feel like right now I'm in a good place where, if, you know, no matter what happens, it's like I have like the certain things in my life right now that I'm so happy about that I can kind of like withstand.
That's awesome.
Pretty much anything, you know?
Yeah,
so,
it definitely has something it helps to have something positive to focus on.
Yeah. But I mean, you try to say that to me when I was like hooked on, when I was doing Oxycontin, I'd be like, yo, fuck right off, take your positive thinking and go get the hell out of here. But it's like, that's why I think it is important when you are doing okay to help people, because God, man, it's so hard. Sometimes it's hard to even wake up, to even get out of bed, to even
absolutely
like do your laundry, to brush your teeth. That shit can be hard. And so it's like so easy if you just like, I don't know, got an unexpected paycheck, or it's like when good things happen, like, God damn, it's so easy just to pass that shit on.
Right.
And some people are born with lives that are really easy, and other people are born with lives that are just like kind of fucked up, and just by the luck of the draw. So I guess that's kind of like my whole outlook on that stuff. But as of right now, I'm not struggling with addiction. Maybe to music, a little bit. But I've definitely been around it a lot. And I had even checked myself into like an IOP when I was when I was younger. And so I've studied a lot of it. And I don't know how I feel about just the whole system, how it's just like just the pharmaceutical companies. And it's all pretty crazy, actually.
I agree. It is very crazy. But fortunately, there are a lot of groups out there that help people get on the right path, and, so that's good.
Yeah, well, it's at least known that there's help out there if you seek it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with us. It's been such a pleasure talking with you and getting to know you a little better. I've been enjoying listening to your music in preparation for the interview, and I'm excited to see where you're going to go from here.
Yes. I'm definitely thankful to be on here. Going to be putting out some new music here toward the end of this year, and then hopefully a tour and some new music next year. So everybody keep a lookout for that. Jarett, nice meeting you. And Kelly, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And I was looking ahead at some of the shows you have coming up. I know by the time this airs, in most likely in September, you'll have a show coming up locally near me, October 10th at Sea Legs in Huntington Beach. So I'll definitely try to get out there and say hi.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be a good one. It'd be great to meet you in person, and it's definitely going to be a good show. So we hope to see you at that one.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, Aaron. Have a wonderful night.
Yeah, man. Right, thank you. It was awesome chatting with you.
All right, Joe. Take care. Thanks so much.
Well, Kelly, once again, you've lined up an amazing guest for us. Aaron was a lot of fun, getting to check out some of his music leading up to this podcast. And he's got that cool little show that he plugged. You guys can find the link to that right there in the description of this show that he does on YouTube. Check him out, guys. And again, we have these guests that come on and give us these conversations. Go ahead, check them out. Give them a follow. But again, another fun conversation.
Absolutely. And if you're in the Southern California area, make sure you head on over to Sea Legs in Huntington Beach, October 10th. Aaron Wolf is going to be there. That should be a great show. And of course, we, the foundation and the podcast, will all be at Reggae Rise Up October 9th and 10th. So we hope to see a bunch of you there. Please stop by the booth and say hello. We'll have, of course, Jarett there. I'll be there. Anna, our producer, will even be there. So great opportunity to meet the people behind the scenes.
Viva Las Vegas. I am ready. I am pumped up for Reggae Rise Up. It's going to be an amazing, you know what? I don't even know. What do we even say at this point? It's sold out. So if you don't have your tickets, you're fucked. It's not like I can push it anymore and be like, get there and buy some tickets and come and see us. But if you are one of the lucky ones that already has tickets, make sure you stop by the Knoll Family Foundation booth. Check us out. We'll have t-shirts and all sorts of cool stuff going on out there. So look forward to meeting all you guys and getting back out to some live music, outdoor event. I'm totally pumped for this one.
Absolutely. And, I do think that there are some one-day passes still available. So go check it out at reggaeriseupvegas.com and see if there are still any available. Don't quote me on that, but there is still a chance that you might be able to get one-day passes.
Actually, I think you're right. I think there are a few.
Weekend.
I think there's a few one-day passes that were left because I saw somebody that was looking for them. The 2-day passes were already sold out.
Yeah.
All the VIP was already sold out, but I do believe that there was Saturday and Sunday one-day general admission passes that you had to buy separately. But if you're in the area or you can make it in the area, it is certainly worth it. I am excited about this one.
going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to do a special episode. We'll be doing some special interviews while we're there, and then airing that and posting that special episode the following Wednesday.
And if you aren't going to be in Las Vegas and able to stop by the stand, you can, of course, visit the KnollFamilyFoundation.org. You can always pick up all of the awesome Bradley's House merch. I know we've mentioned it a few times, but a lot of people, Kelly, they like to get that Sublime Sun, that classic Opie Ortiz art piece. And the Bradley's House logo that you get on those T-shirts, you guys had Opie Ortiz go ahead and do that as well to kind of keep the tradition going. So you guys can still own that piece of Sublime type art and have all of that money go to a great cause. So visit the KnollFamilyFoundation.org. And of course, make sure you are checking out all of the social media from the Knoll Family Foundation. There's constantly updates on all sorts of cool things that are going on. Hopefully you were able to partake in the auction that had just passed. But when you're following the websites, when you're following the social media pages, you're going to be one of the first to know about that. And make sure you click subscribe wherever you're listening to this show. It's going to make sure that you guys get all of your updates. You know exactly when a new show's dropping. You'll never miss one. So go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit the like, give us that 5-star rating as well. It means a lot to us and helping us continue to grow this show. And of course, a huge thank you to our friends over at Savage CBD. Again, the support has been amazing from everybody. So
yes, and thank you to everyone who participated in the auction, who bid, whether you won the item or not. Just all of the great support. We sure appreciate it. It means so much, and it will go a long way towards getting Bradley's House open.
Absolutely. A lot of fun that event was, and looking forward to, hopefully doing some stuff like that in the future, Kelly. I hope you guys keep that stuff going because, there's a lot of fun to be able to see that. And even on that Monday when it was released and so much buzz, so many people talking about it and all the different groups and the stuff. So, it was really cool to see that. So make sure you're following the foundation. They're the Knoll Family Foundation everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, Facebook, whatever it is.
Go
ahead. Yeah, I'm sure. You want to know
what?
Is that
even around anymore?
Guess what? Nobody can log into their fucking MySpace anymore, so they would never know if we really had a Knoll Family Foundation page or not because they're all thinking to themselves,
well, that's where all the magic happens.
Right. Yeah. That's where all the good stuff happens. But we know that none of you guys can remember your passwords from 2007. So nobody can get on to MySpace to keep up on it. So in the meantime, you'll just have to check Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at the Knoll Family Foundation. And like I said, lots of cool updates there. Now, Kelly, every single week, everybody gets to leave with a smile. And how do we do that? We play an awesome song. And usually it's something that is from our guests. So what is everybody going to be let out with today?
Today we're going to hear Count for Something by Aaron Wolf. Enjoy it, guys. Until next time, I'm Jarett Orr. She's Kelly Noel. We are out of time. That means you don't have to go home, but you have to leave Bradley's house.
Babe, come around my way. I'm with you like every day. See all the pain that's in this world seems to fade when I see your face. Love like water flowing deep. You the flame like the air I breathe. Light me up when I can't say. In the end, this love will count for something. Take responsibility to heal it. Why don't I start with myself? And all the challenge condition in my spirit, I face the darkest of shadows with you. Oh yeah. I shine a light on the battle and it's true. Recognized it. Yeah, I plan, moving, fake land where I land. On my path in the end I stand. On my 2 feet, that's all I know. Share this whole song that's in my soul. Place my problems all in the wind. Long as our love remain in our band. Yo, that other shit don't mean nothing. Show up, love will count for something. Oh Lord, yes I know. Take this love wherever I go. The only thing that lasts for sure. So I sing this song loud ever in so crazy, you and I, we do our thing. Love like fire, fulfilling deep. Burn away all things I don't need. I lift you and you lift me. In the end, our love will count for something. Thankful for the moment, breathing, I'm alive, you're ungrateful, so I wrote it. I wonder in time what to with this life and how it goes. The one person has all the money they can hold it. Another one end up homeless, laying on the floor in the dirt. Can you tell me what's a human life worth? Yeah, that's a real one. Do what hurt your heart when you drive by and see the suffering in your whip without familiar. Probably not. I get thinking like that, it's always you that could bring me right back. Like, is the outlook that I'm having right now really true? Did I wake up in the mood? Yeah, I plan, moving, fading, land where I land. On my path, in the end I stand. On my 2 feet, that's all I know.